And support for the Anna Hazare campaign is across the spectrum of society, in fact, but now it's also getting online support.
Anna Hazare's fast against corruption is joined by relay fasts across the country, on the ground and online. Facebook has over 100 pages dedicated to fight against corruption. This page, titled Anna Hazare, has over 15,000 likes, but many are posting contrarian views as well. Critics point out that the anger in the social media is justified, but hundreds of Hazare web pages that have erupted overnight are anarchical and lack depth. Anna Hazare has become a trending topic on Twitter, with tweets every 5 seconds. Many of these question if corruption can be dealt with fasting and laws. The Good Jew writes, "Together we might not be able to end corruption, but we'll sure end obesity." Activists say if NGOs want to draft the country's laws, it raises serious questions about the legitimacy of democratic practices. Pratap Bhanu Mehta writes, "Sometimes a sense of unbridled virtue can also subvert democracy. It is at worst subversive of representative democracy. There is something deeply coercive about fasting unto death. When it is tried to an unparalleled moral eminence, as it is in the case of Anna Hazare, it amounts to blackmail." Experts also believe that more than the People's Revolution, Hazare's fast has become a television show. Analysts call the TV coverage the Anna Hazare show and say it's the media who want a revolution, and Hazare is not going to disappoint them.
And as we've been reporting, this campaign is being joined by not only Indians here in the country, but also all over the globe. Joining us now, Cambridge students, in fact, Arun and Abhimanyu. Arun, the government's argument is that they can't possibly allow civil society to help in drafting bills. That's the government's job. We follow the Westminster model. Arun, to you first. You don't buy that argument?
Well, I completely don't buy this argument of blackballing the role of civil society. I think it's very archaic and it sort of harms the basic principle of democracy.
Abhimanyu, tell us a little bit about this movement growing in Cambridge among you students.
Right. So when we heard about Anna Hazare going on a fast unto death, we thought that given that we are at Cambridge, and this is the alma mater of Dr. Manmohan Singh as well, if we come out in protest of what has been happening with the government and in support of Anna Hazare, it is bound to get noticed. And we just want to say that for the past couple of years, we've been listening to things like, food subsidies being equated to 2G scams, and that seems to be a whole blotch in the economics profession. Both of us are students of economics. So this seems to be a great platform for us to express our dissatisfaction with the current governance, and we'd like to see some changes.
Arun, just coming to you, there seems to be a deadlock now between the activists and the government. The activists want a notification of this committee so that the government is legally held or it's legally bound. Where do you see this movement going? Do you think that pressure from this movement, both at home and abroad, could push the government to agree to the demands?
I sincerely hope that under the leadership of Anna Hazare, this mass movement is a success. But I also fear that the government will sort of sentence the recommendations of this committee, if formed, into some kind of a bureaucratic limbo. And I think this deadlock is something which we should vehemently fight against. And we would all agree with Arvind Kejriwal saying that this is a very simple demand. And it would set a huge precedent. And if the government does not address this now, the sustainability of Indian politics would be under a great threat.
Arun, but with this deadlock currently there, with the government saying that it cannot set up a precedent of this nature, because then any kind of demand would also come in a similar fashion, saying that we want to participate in drafting of a new law.
Yes, that's a very slippery slope kind of an argument, because corruption is not just any kind of demand. I mean, even if you celebrate this World Cup success, it has been marred by corruption with the ticket scam. There has been the 2G scam. In a country which is is hailed as an economic power and has, faces numerous problems, I think one cannot sort of dispose of corruption as a problem.
And especially this particular bill has been stalled for the last 42 years, which is an extremely long length of time. And stalling it any further would just be, slap in the face of the government.
Right, Arun and Abhimanyu, thanks for joining us. To Cambridge students who have joined the movement there, do keep in touch and send us your pictures of the campaign that you will be running there. Thanks again for joining us on NDTV.
Thank you, Abhinav.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. NDTV.com/apps.